Donald Trump quitting the presidency, JD Vance taking over the White House, and a sweeping presidential pardon immediately following, it sounds like a dramatic political scenario, but veteran Democratic strategist James Carville is now publicly predicting exactly that. Carville has added a striking new twist to his earlier prediction about Trump's political future, claiming that if Republicans suffer a crushing defeat in the 2026 midterms, Trump could ultimately decide to walk away from the presidency. But according to Carville, Trump's departure would not simply involve handing power to Vice President JD Vance. He believes Trump could first make sure that his successor is prepared to pardon him for, in Carville's words, everything imaginable. It is an extraordinary prediction, and for now, it remains exactly that, Carville's prediction, not an announced plan from Trump or the White House. So what exactly is Carville predicting, and why does he believe Trump could leave office? Carville's argument begins with the November 2026 midterms. He predicts Republicans will suffer a major defeat, one severe enough to dramatically weaken Trump's political influence. Speaking on the Daily Beast podcast, Carville said,
"He's going to lose so decisively in November, his power is going to just seep right out. No one's going to even care. People really don't care what he says anymore."
Those are Carville's assessments rather than established facts about how voters will behave in November. The midterms have not happened yet, and their outcome remains uncertain. But Carville believes a Republican loss could be particularly consequential if Democrats gain control of the House and potentially the Senate. According to the report, he suggested Trump's political power would begin declining rapidly and that the process would only accelerate in January. Why January? Because a change in congressional control could bring a new wave of investigations and hearings examining Trump and his administration. And Carville appears to believe that possibility could fundamentally change Trump's calculation about remaining in office. This is where Carville's prediction becomes even more dramatic. According to the HuffPost report, Carville believes Trump could decide to leave the White House by April 15th, following a major Republican midterm defeat. And Carville described in remarkably specific terms how he imagines that exit playing out. He said Trump could call Vice President JD Vance and tell him,
"JD, I've decided I'm going to resign. I'm going to go back. You're going to be the president, but your first act that I have right here, as soon as you're sworn in, you're going to sign a pardon. Pardon me for everything imaginable.
In Easter, I'm resigning." Again, there is no indication presented in the report that Trump or Vance has agreed to such an arrangement. This is a hypothetical scenario laid out by Carville. But his prediction raises an interesting constitutional question surrounding presidential pardons. Carville argued there is some doubt as to the legality of a self-pardon and claimed Trump simply can't take the risk. He then added, there is no doubt that Vance would have the power as president to pardon him. Under Carville's scenario, Trump would therefore resign first, Vance would become president, and Vance could then issue a pardon. And Carville went even further. He suggested that even if his prediction about Trump leaving soon after the midterms proved wrong, Trump could still potentially use the same strategy before completing his term. Carville said,
"If I were to be wrong and he were to serve his 4-year term, he would still resign 2 days before to be sure he got the pardon. That guy is not going to take any chance with this at all, and just to believe the contrary is just to be an idiot."
Even after January 2027, it's not ruled out that Trump might come to the conclusion that his deal with Vance is the best he can get. The comments represent a significant escalation of Carville's earlier prediction that Trump could simply quit the presidency following a Republican midterm collapse. This time, he's outlining not only when he believes Trump could leave, but also how he thinks Trump could structure that departure. Still, there's an important distinction here. Carville is a longtime Democratic strategist and outspoken Trump critic. His comments are political analysis and speculation. They are not evidence that Trump intends to resign, that JD Vance has discussed pardoning him, or that Republicans will necessarily suffer the electoral defeat Carville is predicting. First, Republicans would need to suffer the kind of decisive midterm defeat he predicts. Second, that defeat would need to weaken Trump's influence to the extent Carville anticipates. Third, Trump himself would have to decide that resignation was preferable to remaining president. And finally, JD Vance would need to assume the presidency and issue the pardon Carville imagines. None of those steps is guaranteed, but Carville's comments are drawing attention because they put an unusually specific timeline and mechanism behind his prediction. He's not merely arguing that Trump could become politically weaker after the midterms. He's envisioning an extraordinary transfer of presidential power, followed almost immediately by a pardon. And with the November midterms approaching, the bigger political question will be whether voters produce anything close to the electoral earthquake Carville is forecasting. Because if Republicans hold their ground, his prediction could quickly fade into another piece of political speculation. But if the GOP suffers a major defeat, expect these comments to resurface almost immediately. For now, Donald Trump remains president, JD Vance remains vice president, and James Carville's dramatic White House endgame remains a prediction. The first real test comes November.